Fenland Fisherman, and welcome to another fishing video. Well, hello and welcome to another video today in association with Carp magazines, and you join me here today for what is a very exciting session for me. It's the 15th of June and I'm finally back out here on the river. But yet, finally the 15th, I'm down here, I'm doing something I've never done before and I'm really excited about it. I'm going to see the season in. 12 o'clock tonight I'm going to be making that magical first cast of the season. Really can't wait to get back on the rivers. Sorry about filming this in the bivvy, I just got the bivvy up and everything and the weather's turned a bit nasty, so you have to do what you can. Anyway, I'm going to put the kettle on, really excited about this. Although I'm not going to be fishing for another 6-7 hours, I don't care. I'm joined here by my dad today. We're going to put the Kelly kettle on at 12 tonight and see the season in style. Right, I'm at my own cup of tea now. Right, it's just gone 4:45 now, and I'm just about to put a little bit of bait out. This isn't going to be my main baiting for the session, just going to put a little bit out. I'm just going to watch it for the duration of, well, the time it's light really, see if I can see a few fish moving in and out of the spot. It's a lot clearer today than what it was the other day when I came down here pre-baiting, so I'm hoping I might be able to see a few fish moseying in and out, but it's not quite as clear as it was last year, so I don't think I'm going to be able to see that much. So I'm going to start off by putting out a fair few scoopfuls of this, not too many, about 3 I'd say, 3 or 4 just scoopfuls of the pigeon conditioner mix there. Real nice mix, I use it all the time when I pre-bait now, it's a brilliant mix, just a mix of particle. I'm just going to put 2 or 3 scoops of that out, hopefully get some bream or something in, just so I can see something in the swim. Like I said, because it's been quite chocolatey recently while I've been pre-baiting, we haven't been able to see anything, unlike last year. I'm then just going to follow that out with about 3 handfuls of the Odyssey. I'm going to put a couple of handfuls of, well, I'm going to put 1 handful of the 18 mils in, and then just a handful, just like that, not many, just a handful of 15 mils. Like I said, hopefully get some bream moving in and out really, just so I can see something. All I've done with this particle is just to add a little bit more. I just glugged it in some of this, I haven't put too much in, literally about half a capful of the Feed Stim XP. Real nice liquid that, I'll tell you a little bit more about that a bit later. But yeah, just put half a capful in there and you see the oil leaking off it as you chuck it in, it's brilliant. But so hopefully just anything to bring the fish up into my swim, any little edge. So going to put 2 or 3 scoopfuls of that out. It might take quite a while to get the fish in, you might not even see it because I am putting it quite far out as well. So I'm going to put a few scoopfuls out. Just going to use my Gardner baiting spoon, got that on the handle there, so I get a little bit of distance. With the wind how it is, you need that distance to get it out there. Last year I was just using like a normal spoon and it's so difficult to get it out when the wind's like this. I'm having to chuck it a fair bit upstream as well, because the water's really pushing through now. As you'll know, just before the season started we've had quite a lot of rain, so you know the water's pushing through a lot more than it was last year, and that's why it's been chocolatey recently. But anyway, we're going to give this a go. We're going to chuck a few scoopfuls out, put on the Polaroid and see if we can see a few fish moving in and out. well, it's going to be a long time sitting here waiting for the opening of the season, so why don't I take you to the rigs and baits I'm going to be using now. Okay, both rods, they're very similar that I'm going to be putting out tonight. They're both mainly going to be out for carp, but one rod I'm going to be using slightly different rig and a smaller bait just to pick up anything that's in the swim, just to get that first bite of river season. And well, standard on both rods, I got 2 foot of the Gardener plummet lead core. It's got that in the green variety, sits in and really blends in nicely with this bottom. I've then on this rod got about a 3 to 4 inch hook link. So I've got a short hook link on this rod, and that's mainly because it's going to be after anything, so I want it to prick anything that's coming into the swim. Also, that means I can sort of see, you know, how 2 different rigs are working, because on the other rig I've got a slightly longer hook link, so I'll see what's working and what's not. And often when you're catching bream and tench, they're a very good sort of telltale fish, if you know what I mean by that. If they're getting hooked by the rigs, you can pretty much be sure the carp will, because tench tend to be a bit more finicky than the carp, so if you're hooking them, you can pretty much be sure that your rigs are going to hook the carp when they come into the swim. You've got a size 8 mugger, which I've just got with a little bit of shrink tube in there, just to kick the hook. I've then got a fairly short hair, I'd say, about 1 inch to 1.5 inches long, with a 15mm Odyssey XXX boilie on there. Just a 15mm on that one. That's another thing I'm trying. On this rod with a smaller hook, 15mm boilie. Again, like I said, that's just to pick up bites really tonight. I'm after a bite, you know. I'd love a river carp, I'd love another big rod like I had last year, but it's really just for bites tonight that I'm after. So this rod is hopefully going to be my bite rod, and hopefully I'm going to get something like that on there. I'm going to take you through how I'm going to be presenting these in the river a little bit later, but you'll see it later, like I said. Now onto my second rod. If I just unhook it here, you'll notice straight away got a lot longer length of lead core there, and that's probably about 4 foot of lead core there, in comparison to about the 2 foot I was using on the other rod. And again, like I said, I've got a longer hook length. This one's about 7 to 8 inches long. I've got a longer hair, and the reason for that is I'm going to be using an 18mm bait tipped with a 15mm pop-up. Just going to put that on for you now. Again, same flavour, got it in the Odyssey XXX. Going to nick that into the hair there, push it down. These little bait needles really do make it so much easier. 15mm pop-up. I'm not going to use a fluoro, I'm going to use the same sort of colour. I don't really like using fluoros in the river, but you know, they do work. I know people who have caught on fluoro boilies in the river. But I feel I've been pre-baiting with these, so you might as well use what you've been baiting up really, because I should be confident on it. Notice how I say should. So just push the boilie down again, just like the last one. And take a hair stop, which is a fiddly part. 2 minutes, open up the hair. Grab a hair stop. Hair stop into the hair, pull the pop up down to the hair stop or up to it, no matter how you want to say it, and there you go. I've got the 18mm bottom bait with a 16mm pop up just above it. On that rig I'm using a size 6 mugger, so a bit bigger than the one I'm using on the other rig. And I've got, and just like I was using on the Syndicate, I've just got a little run ring there, just so the bait can run freely, you know, when the fish are moving over the area, then get spooked off by, you know, a static bait. I'm not having any putty or anything on that, because I'm using that Trickster heavy braid, you know, that sticks to the bottom, so I don't feel I need putty with a rig like this. Some rigs I put putty on, like I'm just experimenting on my other rig, but I have put putty on it just to see if it makes a difference. So the other rig I showed you before this one, it's more of an experimental rig, but this one I'm sticking to what I know. This is my carp rig, it's my out and out carp rig, so I'm sticking to what I know and what I know works. And this is catching fish on my Syndicate, which is really heavily pressured. I feel pretty confident I'm going to be able to catch on here. Really on the river, it's not so much the rigs, it's more the, you know, where you are and the bait that you're on. You know, I have found they can be a little bit finicky, but as long as you know, keep presenting your bait to them through pre-baiting and things, they get used to it and they'll quite happily eat it. So more than anything, it's location and persistence for baiting on the river, so rigs are secondary. As soon as you can find those fish, you're halfway there. So far I've seen one fish crash, well, what I believe to be a carp crash on the stretch. Hopefully we'll have that one later tonight. But yeah, both rigs, very simple. As regular followers know, I don't overcomplicate rigs, but it'll be interesting to see which one goes off tonight and how many bream we have on them, if any. Anyway, like I said, simple rigs. I'm going to take you through how I'm going to be presenting them later with PVA bags, because I'm not just going to be casting these straight out, and I'll show you all that later. Right, bait. Now today I'm just going to be using the baits we've been pre-baiting with, which is the Odyssey XXX. Real nice bait, that real fishy. You can really sort of smell the quality in it, if you know what I mean by that, and the fish definitely been responding to that. All the bait I've been putting in has been going, which I'm really happy about. Along with that, I've been putting a lot of the pitching conditioner particle mix. That's the main base for baiting today. I'm only putting a handful or so of boilies in. That's just to get them on the bait I'm going to be using. But to actually get the fish in the spot and feeding, you know, coming back and over again. I've been coming down there twice a week, every week. Oh, sorry, I mean once every 2 days, and I mean twice a week. Come down there once every 2 days and putting about 5 to 6 kilo particle in a go. So you know that's going to get the fish in, and the bait's been going, which I'm really happy about. A couple of other people pre-bait and stretch as well, so I think every bit of bait that goes in the river really helps. So you know, don't be disheartened if you have got other people pre-baiting and stretch, because don't forget, while you're baiting going in, theirs is, both fish are going to be in the stretch and having a bit of a feed, so that's all good because it means they're hanging around. So yeah, not just me today pre-baiting this, obviously my dad's here with me as well, but there are a few other people further up. Hook bait wise, again I'm using the Odyssey obviously, but these are my little specials. I've had them glugging some of the feed stim liquid for about, well, it must be nearly a week now. Got a few 18 mils and 15 mils in there, so I can use them on each rod. Actually going a little bit hard now, which is perfect, you know. I want them to be slightly harder so the bream don't just rip them clean off the hair like they were doing last year. Quite simply, from a PVA bag mix, all I'm using is some of the oily bag mix from CC Moore, and all I've done is I've just added a bit of the Odyssey crushed up and a few whole ones in there as well. Don't know if you can see that in there, but it's a really nice mix up that comes straight out the bag. I mean, I should really just be using it straight out the bag, but I always feel it's good to add a few samples of hook bait and things like that in there. But you know, it's got, you know, as the name would suggest, it's very oily obviously, and what that allows you to do is something that I'm quite keen on, something I'm just now getting on, is, you know, because you can't always see the fish in your swim, and on the lake you generally don't. So how do you know they're there if they're not rolling? Well, because of the amount of oil in this, when the fish are rooting around, you know, rooting in the area your PVA bag is, your bait is, that they'll disturb the oil within the particles, sending up, because oil isn't quite as dense as water. And then you'll see a lovely oily slick on top. So when you start seeing those oily slicks come up, it's not necessarily because fish are on the bait. Generally once you just put it in, there will be some oil come up, but after a while, once it's settled, if there's lots of slicks coming up, we're pretty sure there's a few fish nosing around in there and they're on the bait. So that's one of the reasons why I'm using this. Also, because of the oil, because of the high leakage effect of it, very effective in fishing a river. And that's the same with, you know, the feed stim that I'm using as well. Because that means, you know, you got current on the lake, sorry, you got current on the river, which you do to a certain extent on the lake, but not obviously to the same extent. And then that means that oil is going to be carried downstream and hopefully pull the fish upstream onto your baited spot. That's the theory anyway. I've put a fair bit of thought into all this, but you know, it's always good to put a bit of thought into your tactics and things like that, especially when you've got so long to wait until the season. I just can't wait, it's going to be brilliant. Even if I don't catch, or, you know, even if I don't catch, it's going to be really nice to get back out in the rivers. I do like my lake fishing, but there's something special about rivers. That challenge, it's just brilliant. But anyway, yeah, so that's the baits I'm going to be using. I'll show you the PVA bags in a little bit, but pretty good stuff. Right, I'm going to talk about how I'm going to present the rigs now. To do this, I'm just going to be using solid PVA bags, as I've already said, with a fair bit of weed out there. I'm doing various other things as well as that to try and combat my rigs getting stuck in the weed and things. Well, on this rig, I'm using a snowman rig, or a snowman setup, or whatever you like to call it. But the bottom line is I'm using a small 15mm pop up on top of a 18mm bottom bait. I just test that in the margins, and that really sinks slowly, so it's neutrally balanced as it is. Neutrally buoyant, sorry. And then just to make it sit on top of the silt and weed even more, I'm using one of the Gardener PVA foam nugget. And I've taken that one nugget, bending it, then hooking it. I'm doing it so the hook point doesn't go all the way through, but it's concealed in there, so I know that hook point isn't going to get fouled by, you know, weed and things, even when the bag dissolves. Okay, so that's the rig, and that's how it's going to be protected from the weed. Okay, so what I'm going to do, first off, open up the bag, nothing in there yet. I'm going to put a very small amount of the mix into the bag, just to sort of cover the bottom really. Make sure the corners are out, just flatten it down there. There you go, small amount in the bag. I'm then going to lower the rigging, sorry this is caught round down here somewhere, there we go. Okay, so now what I do is I lower the rigging, so I'm being careful not to get it all caught and tangled up. Just before it goes in, I make sure all the line, everything on the rig's laid out properly, because you don't want that to not be laid out properly once it's on the bottom. Okay, so what I do is I then hold the lead with my fingers, just trapped against the PVA there. I then pile it up with some more bait, more of the mix, and predominantly that's what I'm going to put in there, is this mix. Okay, so I know all that's going to be lined nice and sort of flat in there now, but then because I'm using, you know, a few bottom baits, I'm going to put a couple of bottom baits in there, just so it doesn't sort of stand out too much in amongst the mix. I'm going to put 3 in there. They are 18mm, so they take up a fair bit of room. But also what this does is it forms like a barrier in between my hook and the lead. I don't want them too close together when they land on the bottom. So just give me a sec, there's not much room in that PVA bag to get another 18mm in. There we go. Now we fill it up with more pellet, more stick mix. A little bit more. I'm going to shake that down, make sure it's all sitting nice, and take the lead, sort of place it on top, but also just sort of push it in a little bit so I have enough room to put the PVA around the lead core. There we go, it's pushing nicely, and I'll fill it up again with some more mix. There we go, that's what I do. I don't really want to fill it more than that, and look, you can see in there, there's my little PVA nugget there, so I know that hook's going to be nice, sit nice on the bottom. Now, there's a lot of ways you can do this to finish off the bag. All I did, I just take the end of the bag, click it, and that's all moist now. Don't forget it's PVA, it's made out of the same stuff as PVA glue. Then just wrap it round so that sticks on there nicely onto the lead core, and I'll never have any problems with residue. There we are, there's my finished bag. That's what I'm going to be casting out at 12 o'clock tonight. Really happy here, just sitting watching the water. Although it's still windy, the wind has calmed down a fair bit, and I've just seen a really big rudd top. Fantastic, I forgot how exciting rudd were. Spent a year away from them. Nice to see them again. Getting worried they weren't here because of the fast flow. I don't think they're here in the numbers they were last year. Or probably at the size, but I'm hoping tomorrow, if this wind's like it is now or holds off a bit more, I can get a float out for them in the morning. But I've seen a big rudd. I'm very, very excited. Oh, come on the 16th, you're not far away now. Well, it's just gone 12 o'clock, it's about 20 past 12 now, and the first rod's just gone out, just about to put the second rod out. Sorry about the dodgy sort of camera angle and stuff. It's just, I'm holding this in my hand, it's my little handheld camera. It's not as good quality as the other one, but it does night vision, so it's always useful this sort of time. Just put the rod out, really excited. I know everyone else has as well, so the chances of me getting one's very slim. A real sort of shocker. When the rigs I was going to put on, I managed to lose it just before I was about to put the rod out. So to quickly make another one before 12 o'clock, so I was a bit in a rush, a bit in a panic before I got the rods out, which is really how I wanted to see the season in. But I had Dad, had the Kelly kettle on, had the celebratory cup of tea, had the season rolled in at 12. That's what it's all about. Brilliant. So, one rod in, that's one with a smaller boilie on with a new rig on. A 15mm boilie. And the right hand rod I've just put out with 18mm, 15mm pop up on top. Now I'm just going a little bit further out. Got a feeling I'm going to be putting that into weed, but you just don't know, you know. But they're both in solid bags with a bit of foam on the hook. Hopefully that'll do the job. But I think it's going to take quite a long time for all that PVA and the foam to dissolve. I just hope it does. Anyway, I'll probably see you if I have a fish. Well, there we go. First fish of the season. Nice little bream. Actually taking on the carp rod. You know, the out and out rig. I'm not going to hold him up for this one, I'm just holding the camera. Does up at his swim, I'm not going to get him out just for that little bream. But you know, about £3, it's not a bad start. Any fish is welcome. Well, good morning. It's about 8:30 and I've been up this morning since about 4 float fishing for rudd, or trying to float fish for rudd anyway. Been really hard going. But if you want to see how I got on with that, you'll have to watch the rudd video, which will be uploaded a short while after this. Oh, right arm. I think that's bream. Had bream in my spot all night and all day, and I've just been missing runs all night from them. Just think they're picking the bait up, not the hook. But I suppose that's all part and parcel with river carping, really. There you go. But I think it's going to be my last entry now. Probably of the session. I'm going to be going home soon. Got to get back down to some revision, got still some more exams coming this week. But this video, as you get on the title, this is part 1. So there's going to be some more, or hopefully some more videos on the way, and we'll hopefully end up getting a river carp. I'm going to try and show you all the stages of my fishing, and you know, the blanks as well as the catches. So hopefully that will try and make viewers appreciate how difficult river carping can be. I had both of my targets quite early last year, within about 10 minutes of the beginning of the session, so you know it's going to be a bit different this year. But I'm really looking forward to the challenge and I can't wait to get back down here. Anyway, I'll see you next time, and tight lines.